Since 1973, Tattoo Charlie's has been an established body modification studio in Kentucky, featuring world-renowned artists and piercers, currently with locations on Preston Highway and in Lexington, a staple point in the tattoo community. Learn more at tattoocharlies.com. Set up your appointment today at 7904 Preston Highway. Our tattoos are done while you wait.
Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel, anything you could possibly want, we're going to have it for you. Mom's is, and always will be, Louisville's music store.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
We've got keyboards.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I am your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. Thank you all for tuning into the Metal Forge. I'm your host, Mark Jackson, and you're listening to the Friday, October 9th edition of the show with SHI, Louisville's own stoner depressive doom metal band. Holy fucking shit. Awesome stuff. I'm going to be playing a few tracks of theirs. If you're into doom, I think you're really going to like these cats. They're awesome, funny fucking people that create really awesome fucking deep, dark music, and I think y'all like it. I actually recorded this interview last night with the guys in their practice spot. We kind of started the show outside, and then the neighborhood dogs started going apeshit because it was starting to get around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and we moved it inside shortly thereafter. But it was totally fucking cool. 3/4 of the band was there. Hope y'all dig it. Let me know where I can make changes, where I can improve, where I can fix things that, y'all don't like. Shoot me a message, metalforgeradio@gmail.com, or through the website, metalforgeradio.com. In the coming weeks, I do have a few bands coming on, and I know I said this last week that I don't like to let the cat out of the bag, but the Metal Forge is going back to Canada here next week with Villain from Toronto. Fucking awesome cats. Check them out before we get to the show, because I'm going to be playing a few tracks of theirs. And then Pittsburgh, another power metal band with Legendary, coming up later this month. And I think I'm going to have a little bit of a Halloween surprise. I think I'm going to do some awesome, I think I'm going to debut a new band that, hasn't been heard before. Check that out, too. Along with that, I'm going to have a few other guests, like Steve Gatrost, a local visual artist. He does tattoos, he's done comics, he's played in bands. Nick from the Stonecutters and Warcloud has some actual art of his on his body. So, fucking awesome stuff there. And because he's a friend of mine and we do like to cross-promote each other's shows, I'm going to have Wrestling Steve on the show coming up as well, because he's fucking awesome. I really value his opinion of what he talks about musically on the show, what he talks about with wrestling on his shows. And I just like the dude. He's pretty cool. So tune in for those. They might be on the next coming episodes where we might have some twofer guests on there where they might be paired up with Legendary. They might be paired up with somebody else, but they're going to be on the show soon. So check them out. And before we get into the music, I do want to thank the sponsors. Mom's Music, Maxwell's House of Music, Tattoo Charlie's, Kentucky Hot Brown Pedalboards, and the Wrestling Steve Show. And all of the people who support on Patreon. Because without those people who help promote this show and get more shares and more likes and everything else, you know, we probably wouldn't be able to do as many as we do. Thank you to all of you out there who keep pounding the subscribe button, the like button, and everything else. And speaking of the Patreon page, and I know you've heard the commercials and you've heard me talk about it before, but I'm going to mention it again. Go to patreon.com/MetalForgeRadio, and there are some tiers in there you can donate to. We've got $1, $5, and $10. It's nothing major. I'm not asking for like $50 or $100 or $200 for ridiculous, like super exclusive content. We're metal, you know? So if you feel like you want to do that, there's the link. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. You're not obligated to do anything like that. I just appreciate you, you know, and I try to send out some free stuff when we have it in the availability and everybody gets something out of it. So thank you all. If you also want to go to Apple Podcasts and rate the show, leave some comments down there. Rate what you think is fair. 1 star, 2 stars, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Just let me know. Give me some feedback what I'm doing. So, thank you all again. Let's listen to some SHI. I'm going to play a long one this time. I'm going to play, this is off of Depressive Suicidal Stoner Doom, the first album that came out back in January of this past year. This is Swampy.
touch. Tendrils beckoning me back towards her heart. She pulled out vials from earthen pots, poured them in a cup, passed to me with the vial grip. Then I drank, then I drank, then I drank, then I drank.
What's going on? This is interesting because this is going to be an in-person interview today with Louisville's own SHI.
That's us. That's us right here.
Hello.
Coming at you live.
And in person.
In
Shit.
person.
I'm here.
Gosh. This has been a long time coming. You know, I did one of these back in May, was the last in-person interview.
Goddamn.
And I'm missing a lot of them. You know, I like doing in-persons. The phone is awesome, don't get me wrong, but conversing in person with people is so much better. So
it's
anyways,
organic, you know?
yeah.
It's that energy. You can feed off the other
we
person.
can see you right now.
Also, I hate talking on the fucking telephone.
Yeah,
so.
who doesn't?
I can touch my bass player's tummy.
You can't actually.
I
Fucking
can
get your hand off him.
I can touch his tummy. I can touch my drummer's tummy. We're everything's real, you know?
And
you can feel it.
And we've got the dogs out here.
You can get dogs in the real place. Cooper, come here. Come here,
You might get barks in your podcast.
Yeah, you might get a bark this time. I mean,
might.
I'll try to, you know, to get them to not do it, but
They're off investigating this yard that they've, you know, lived in for the last 2 years. There's nothing new here, but they're checking, making sure there's not any interlopers running around doing bad things. They're gonna keep us safe right here. It's fine,
right, because it's always a new thing for them.
it is.
Every day it's like, are we gonna get to go to that place outside today?
One day I'll get to go outside. It'll be really fun. And they get to go outside every day.
Right.
They get fed every day at the same time. But no.
All right, so who's sitting here with me today?
Tyler, the drummer.
I'm Bob, the guitarist and the vocalist.
And I'm Zach, the bassist.
And boo! No, just kidding. Zachary's the nicest and most well-adjusted of us all, except for there's one guy missing with our crew today, and that's Jace, who I would argue, and you guys can back me up on this, I know you guys would agree, Jace is definitely the nicest and most well-adjusted of us all. He's the other guitar player, but he couldn't be with us.
The most polite gentleman of all time. R.I.P. He's actually alive, but still
R.I.P. R.I.P. or pour one out.
He's here right now.
The story that I think perfectly encapsulates Jace is when he first started jamming with us and playing, and we were still kind of feeling out if we wanted to like formally have him in the band. He was coming over and playing, and I would say he probably jammed with us on a weekly basis for a good month or so. But I would say even after he was officially, we were like, yes, you're in the band, like we're going to count you as a member. At least a month post that period of time, he would still ask if he could get a glass of water. He would still ask if he could go to the restroom. He'd be like, can I get a glass of water, sir? And I'd be like, you can go upstairs and get a fucking glass of water. I don't care.
May I use the bathroom,
May
sir?
I use the restroom? Like, yes, you can use the restroom. You do not need to ask.
Get the fuck out of here.
So yes, in conclusion, that's Jace who's not here.
So Jace is the most refined of us all. He's like a wine. He's where the rest of us are Keystone Lights. He is a fine Pinot Noir. You know.
Right on. Well, I'm kind of sorry he's not here now.
He wouldn't say much anyway.
He's a very quiet boy. He's very reserved. He's a nice young man. He's respectful and polite, but reserved. He's a reserved guy.
So basically what you're telling me, he does not fit in with you.
He is definitely the Gaul of the group, to make a black metal reference. He is certainly the Gaul. I don't know, where the rest of us are a bunch of fucking, like, Danny Filth idiots, right? Like a bunch of loudmouth dum-dums.
No, that's not accurate.
What? So
Okay, touching me.
if this were a BuzzFeed quiz, here, you can add this to your question list. BuzzFeed quiz. If you were a black metal musician, which black metal musician are you?
Unfortunately, I'm not well versed in black metal. Dead, because I want to be dead.
Perfect. Next question.
Nice.
I would be Euronymous, because I was on the way to kill you the whole time.
Somebody got to do it.
No, that's the wrong way, because Euronymous is the one that got right.
Yeah, he got.
He got. Everybody was on the way to kill me. I would still be Euronymous. We shouldn't make jest of murders.
Dead killed himself. So
Dead killed. Okay. That's true. I would be dead too.
Yeah.
Man, that was just a question about who we are. Who's sitting right now?
But that's what the Metal Forge is all about.
Also, you put out an album called Depressive Suicidal Stoner Doom.
There's certain elements that come along.
Yeah,
we're gonna make jokes about killing ourselves this entire interview.
It's only half true.
Right. So tell everybody out there about when you started and how you started as musicians. Or as this band, rather.
So, I replied to I think this is the funniest story. Like, I replied to a post on Reddit, the Louisville subreddit, of somebody looking for a drummer. And, I was just like, I'd been playing drums for a few years. I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to play the band. And I replied to it and started jamming with this band. It was like a metalcore band called Fire of Hephaestus. Shout out to Ed Borho and Michael DeAngelis. Joined that, and then literally we were practicing in an apartment with an electronic drum set, and for 2 months they were like, yeah, we got a bassist, he keeps saying he's gonna come over, he's on his honeymoon right now. And I remember thinking, who is this motherfucking bassist, and how long is he gonna be in Jamaica on his honeymoon? It seems like he's been in Jamaica for 2 months. It was probably only 2 weeks, but anyways, eventually we met up. Bob shows up to a practice, and I never seen Bob before, and plays bass at an apartment or something one time, and then is like, hey, we could start playing in my basement, blah blah blah. I've got a whole basement where we can play, and we don't have to be quiet in an apartment. And we started playing here at Bob's basement, and then at some point Bob asked me hey, you want to come over early on a fire? This is how all side projects start. Hey, you want to come over a little bit early? I've been working on some stoner doom riffs. And I'm like, okay, whatever, yeah, I'll join. And at that point I had listened to 2 bands which I would consider doom, and it was maybe 3. And it was Black Sabbath, but that's only doom by appropriation. They were just Black Sabbath. And then Ahab, which is funeral doom, and Warning, which is funeral doom. And that will be, let that be known that in our first song that's super slow, literally song number 1 on the first demo, I was just I think when I play drums in a doom band, I just play really slow. Just slow. That's my recollection of
That's basically it, yeah. And you gave that shout out to Ed Borho. So my recollection of the beginnings of the band would have been 2015, right?
So many years.
Yeah, right. Actually, we might have gotten together in 2014, but I want to say it was 2015. That was when the first release came out, at least. So somewhere in the 2014-2015 range, I don't actually remember how I got hooked up with Fire of Hephaestus, but it probably was, again, Ed Borho, who was the vocalist for the band that I had been in most recent to that point. So I was in this deathcore band doing vocals in this band Demise of the King. Demise of the King that Ed Borho had originally been the vocalist for. And so I think maybe he had posted on Facebook and said, we need a vocalist, or we need a bass player for this metal band. And my first instrument in high school was bass. I would say I'm a better bassist than I am anything else.
Yeah, he plays guitar in the band.
Yeah, I play guitar in the band. But so I was like, all right, I'll come play bass. And so I came over and started jamming with them in their apartment. And like, I think I gave it like 2 or 3 weeks of like just feeling it out, being like, do I want to continue to do this? And I was like, yeah, this is fun. But at that point, I was like, I don't want to go over to this apartment to play quietly. I was like, fuck, I've got this basement. Like, I've got all the shit here. The whole reason we got the house that we got.
The basement, which you've seen, Mark, it's like full of gear.
Yeah, there's
at that point already. 5 years ago, it was already full of gear.
There's space, right? There's the space to play and have the gear for a full band to play loud and do the thing. And so I was like, hey, you guys want to come over and jam at my place instead of in this apartment? And we started doing that. And yeah, Tyler nailed it on the head at some point. And I don't know what the impetus was for me to do it. I had been jamming like doom or like blackened doom kind of ideas with a couple other dudes, one of whom is now in the band The Hell You Say, who you had on the cast a while back.
Back in July.
Jeremy, their drummer. So he and I had been jamming on what would ultimately become SHI. And actually we had jammed one of the songs off that first EP. It would have been actually, no, it would have been off the second EP. The Into the Sunset was a song that I wrote with Jeremy originally. But so I'd been jamming these like Doom ideas, and I still wasn't very well versed in Doom. The only things I'd really listened to were like Electric Wizard and like a little bit of Sabbath. But I was like, hey, do you want to come over and jam these like stoner Doom riffs? Like, it's basically just playing open 3, 5, and 6 and hoping for the best with Tyler. And so he started coming over, and then at some point we were like, well, we want to make this an actual band. And I was like, do you know any bass players? And so he pointed. Lo and behold, he was like, I happen to know a bass player, because I didn't know any.
Zach, tell him how you started playing bass.
Oh my God, yeah. So Tyler knows me from, we work at UPS together.
All these dogs.
Hang on a second.
Hey.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called the Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is the Wrestling Steve Show. And I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
All right, so we had to move this inside. Some craziness ensued outside with the dogs from the neighborhood. We thought we were going to get a nice one, so we're in the living room now. This is how professional the Metal Forge is.
We've moved into the living room.
Right. So where we left off, we were talking about the bass. How did the bass come into the band?
Yeah, so I'm the opposite of Bob, and I started playing guitar first. And I've known Tyler since I started at UPS in 2011. And him and his buddies, a couple other guys at work, used to ask me to come out and jam on Fridays with them. And I showed up with my guitar once, eventually, after they convinced me to come out. I'm not very outgoing, and it takes a lot to convince me to go.
He's a quiet boy.
Most places.
He's quite reserved. He's a good young man.
So I showed up with my guitar and amp, and come to find out there were 2 other guys there with guitars and amps. And Tyler played the drums. And I said, no, this ain't going to work for me. I'm going to go get a bass. So I bought a bass, and that's the point that I started playing bass.
How many stories of how many basses have you done that way? There's too many guitarists in this room. I'm going to play bass.
Yeah.
Exactly why I started on bass was because I was talking with 2 old middle school buddies of mine that both were like, yeah, we play guitar. Like, one of them was like, my dad's got this acoustic guitar. I'm going to play guitar. And then the other one was like, I've got a guitar too. And I was like, well, I guess I'll play bass because then I'll be in demand. These motherfuckers will come to me and be like, we need a bass player for our band. And I'll be the one that wants to.
If you want to be in a band, play drums or keyboard.
I was going to say,
There's like 3 per big city.
Yeah. if one drummer dies, like half of the local bands in the area are gone. Pooper, come here. Super, come here.
Anyways, sorry. Next question.
No, you're good. So continue.
So I jammed on bass with them, and it wasn't really a band. We just played whatever.
Yeah, we just jammed.
A lot of improv, a few covers here and there, and then Tyler and Bob, I guess, had been jamming on their Doom stuff for a little while. And Tyler texted me out of the blue one day. I was on my way home from work. He's like, "Hey, you want to play bass in a band?" And I said,
No.
I don't know. What kind of band? He says, like a Doom band? I don't know. And I didn't realize that I'd been listening to more Doom than them at this point, because I was waiting at Church of Misery and Sleep and Sabbath and all kinds of shit before that. And he's like, I'll have Bob contact you. And Bob sent me a Facebook message. He said, hey, here's a demo of what me and Tyler recorded so far, and it was song 1. I was like, yeah, I can get way into that. I will definitely show up for your next practice. And I did, and that's all she wrote. Yep.
Awesome.
And then here we are, 5 years later.
5 years later.
Best buds, touching tummies.
You're not fucking touching each other.
Oh, man.
If you haven't noticed already, I don't like to be touched, and he insists on touching me all the time.
I don't want to just touch you. I want to touch your tummy.
I don't like it.
Oh, my God.
It's fine.
You would not have been a friend of Michael Jackson's. Tell me about the writing process. How does that madness ensue?
Well, I'm eating this right
lot
away.
of
And they're looking at
He's
me.
he's breaking the rules. He's eating on a podcast.
We're looking at Bob because...
What do you mean there are no rules in a podcast?
Damn
You do
right.
whatever you want.
Anyways,
So-
we look at Bob.
And now he leaves the room.
he's
No, we
so
can describe
unprofessional.
it. We can just, what is he doing?
I got in my beer.
I could have got that for you.
The writing process is usually, if I have to describe it like in a very plain black and white sense, which we could then later add accessories to. It's like any other band where it's usually either Bob has a riff or
Almost 100% of the time, Bob has a riff.
Maybe 15% of the time I have a drum hook on some songs. Definitely on so songs I can't really name because they're not released yet. But on this newest album, there's a couple songs that are driven by a drum hook.
Yeah. Tyler came to practice with some drum beats. And it's hey,
just
write a riff
a
over this.
really rhythmic hook that usually will come from me just half the time when I jam. I've just played hip hop or something, and then it makes me want to write a drum hook. And then I'll just bring that and we'll go from there, and it's just next practice until it starts to finally form. But it's usually one riff.
I would agree with that. Yeah, it's usually and I think it happens less than you guys are implying that I come with a riff or come with an idea. It's way more skeletal from my point, and I don't think it really forms until we start working. And generally, it's the three of us working on it. Jace is usually brought in kind of near the tail end of the writing process as okay, here's some rhythm parts, or here's where we need you to fill in, or what do you think of these parts? But I would say the core writing of stuff happens with the three of us. And usually it's the most bare bones basic idea of a riff, or even just improving a riff idea.
Yeah,
and you guys being that's good or that's butt, and that kind of thumbs up, thumbs down, in the moment, all right, this is good, let's keep trying things, or this is terrible, scrap it, get rid of it, go away.
Sometimes I feel I'll just yell something Bob, what's the riff you would write if you were hungover and wanted to kill yourself and you were listening to Church of Misery? Go. I literally feel a few times I've just been do the thing if you were doing that and this band did that thing. Go! Yeah. And then the riff comes out, and then there you go. There's the song off and going.
Yeah. It's, I would say, it's not unfair to say that it's driven generally by me coming up with a riff of some kind, but I would say you guys are really good about being very direct and or directional in your feedback. We don't like these aspects of the riff. Let's try and you'll give me kind of nebulous direction on we'll make it more bouncy, or make it more mad, or make it this.
Yeah, it's usually also in the context of definitely for the first album. It's also been on the second album that we're now almost finished writing. It's been what what it needs this now. Now it needs a song that's this. This needs to be we wrote our real sad songs. Let's write one that's you're getting drunk at a party, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Figure that out. So,
which is where we're at for this new
all
album.
feeling.
The new album is basically done. I would say we need one more song musically written that's like upbeat, like the party song. One more party song. One more fucking Van Halen song.
Okay, that's not gonna be Van Halen.
It's not gonna be Van Halen, but more.
But
you know what I mean.
We wish fun. That good.
We have fun. We have fun. So we need another fun song.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's it. That's how we write songs.
That's how we write songs. We say, I don't know that song.
What inspires your writing?
Alcohol.
Our mental health issues.
Alcohol and our mental health issues.
We've been super upfront about that. I would say like the almost like characterization of like SHI up to this point has been like who in the band is having like severe mental illness at the time.
Which one of us is
but like
having...
we've been, like and like we say that and like it'll, like to some people who don't know us that'll sound like really sad, but like frankly I don't think any of us would have been like would be this well at this point if it wasn't for SHI, because like when we started it was like a little bit of all of us, a lot of Bob, and just like how depressed would Bob be at the next practice. Also a lot of me because I was working jobs that I hated, like call center jobs and stuff. Now it's more Zach. Like we're like
I'm fucking falling apart.
We're all trying to hold like we just coddle Zach in our arms, but like no, it literally most of it comes from a place of like our disdain for like either ourselves or other people, like the human race.
Okay.
I mean, mostly ourselves. At least in my capacity.
Yeah.
It's mostly.
I don't necessarily think that's a far-fetched thing for musicians in general.
Oh, for sure.
I think that as musicians, we're all a little bit of introverts anyways, and have a lot of...
Yeah, I would say
it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, for any,
music
like,
is a coping
teenager or
mechanism.
college kids, it's like would listen and be like, oh, like, I'm depressed as hell. Like, what the hell do I do? And he's like looking for like solutions. Like, join a band. You'll figure out that every other person your age, or pretty much every person in general, like, is in the exact same place.
Yeah.
So like,
I would say if there's one takeaway from listening to this interview or listening
that's been
to the album, it's that you aren't alone in your feelings of frustration or your feelings of sadness or feelings of like being defeated. Like, everybody feels that way either currently or has felt that way. Like, you aren't a anomaly within the world or within your friends group. Like, even the friends that you have that you're like, man, like, they've got it figured out. Those guys are really well adjusted. They're so good. Like, it's not even that they're lying. It's just that like they have a better front for it. They're able to present or cope with the world in a better way or more visible way than you are, and that's totally fine. And you know, you're again, you're not alone in that.
And one more thing I'll say is I feel like a lot of like the friends and fans, like, it's weird to consider that you have like fans, but like a lot of that shit has come from like, turns out that like people are like super into like are on the same page as us when it comes to like loving riffs and not being happy and chipper 100% of the time, and like that's where we made like so many friends and fans and shit, and that's cool as hell. People like really jive with the message.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I can dig that 100%. On the writing and creation of music, this is a big one. Okay. Can you listen to your own music without criticizing it?
No.
Oh,
not at all.
Who cares?
All right, here's the real truth.
I mean, can you listen to it as a fan?
No.
I can.
Yes,
because I listened to that first album several times. I'm like, man, these songs are fucking good.
Yeah.
This sounds good. If I was not in this band, I'd be way into it.
I can listen. I definitely agree with Zach. I think me and Zach definitely can more like listen to our music objectively. Like I can listen to it and like within the context of like stoner doom as a subgenre, be like, yeah, man, this fucking rips. Like, these rip. Whereas I think Bob definitely just always like hates it all, no matter what it is. Like, Bob's not good at being a critical ear of himself.
It's really difficult for me to listen to it and not be like, why?
Is it because you do vocals? Is it? Like...
It's probably part of it, or like I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I feel strongly like that a lot of the songwriting is me, or like I'm looking at it as like, yeah, like I wrote this song in my head, and so it's very difficult for me to separate that out and be like, no, like this is a group effort. Like, we all had a hand in this, and so
we're all to blame.
My default setting is self-deprecation, right? And so it's hard to disassociate from that.
Right. You got better about it though.
Yeah, you definitely have.
I will say these new songs are really fucking good.
Yeah, dude, like look after that second album, they're all rippers.
They all slap, as the kids would say.
They really go plank in the doink.
I've never. Dude, is that what the children?
That's what the kids are saying.
They go plank in the doink.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Well,
Wow, I have never heard that before.
These new songs, it's a certified doink planker. You know. Our dogs don't run outside when they hear our new songs, so that's good.
So you're not terrifying the dogs now?
No, they're not terrified.
Well, they've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
The denizens of the neighborhood have never came at us with knives and pitchforks.
Honestly, when I was walking up outside when you all were playing, I actually could not hear you until I got to the door.
That's good.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
I mean, because I really didn't want to hear you. No.
I did. Whenever we moved into the house, one of the first things I did was within the first week of moving in, I went next door to the neighbors on this side of the house where the basement is, and I was like, "Hey, just as a heads up, like, I'm, my goal is to play in a band. Like, I play, music. So if, I said my personal goal is to be, done with being loud by 8. I was like, generally it'll be before then, but I was like, I'm trying to set a personal goal of 8 o'clock. So if there's ever a time where you guys, you need me to be quiet, just let me know. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And I've never had any issue with them. They've always...
Yeah, we should, if we knew their names, we'd shout them out in the next record.
Shout out to the next door neighbors.
Shout out to the next door neighbors. They have never come over and been like,
punk.
Will you guys...
That's sufficiently punk.
Yeah, it is super punk. And they're very, not punk. I think one of them works, he works from home from Microsoft or something like that. He's very, very unpunk, but he's also, it seems like he's a nerd, and he probably... is acknowledging those guys are a bunch of losers, aren't they? They're down there playing stoner doom rest. Those guys don't have anywhere else to be. We'll leave them alone.
Definitely. If you could have played a show that's from days gone past, like major concert event, what would it be?
The coolest thing in the world to open for Windhand or Sleep.
Around
here, even just that would be
I would agree. Very low key. Opening for that.
How much respect and reverence for those you can't deny how much of an influence they are, and just to watch them. We all went to those shows and just see them.
Our early stuff was way heavily influenced by Electric Wizard and Windhand. And Windhand played at Z-Bar. It was 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
2, I think.
2 years ago? And that would have been a show that we would have loved to have played. And I get it's not a major event, but that would have been a cool thing. Sleep played here a year or two back.
Yeah, just here recently, about a year ago.
Yeah, up at the Brown and we went, and it that would have been a cool show to play. That would be the biggest show that I would say that we would have wanted to play. Opening for Sleep would have been a dream, probably surpassed only by if we got the chance to open for Sabbath, right? Some god tier, S tier doom band.
What? They had a festival in Lexington that
Clairvoyance Fest?
Clairvoyance Fest.
Yeah, that would have been
fucking rad to play.
Yeah, so Clairvoyance Fest, shout out to Psychic City Productions and Clark over there. So he put on a fest last year in Lexington. At Cosmic Charlie's RIP.
Right.
And it was if you were in a doom band and you looked at that bill, there was no way you didn't immediately have an ejaculatory response because it was Bongzilla headline.
Yeah.
You had Primitive Man there. Chemist was there.
Telekinetic Yeti.
Telekinetic was the show we played. The year prior, the precursor to
That's
it.
right.
But Void Rot was there. And there's another old school death metal band.
Necrot?
Outer Heaven
played
it too.
dude,
I would have fucking killed to play that show. God.
So Clairvoyance Fest last year in Lexington, that I would put that on that list.
I would have rather played that show than the
Opening
Sleep or
for Sleep?
Windhand. Yes.
Damn.
But I'd say what y'all are saying, the weird answer to that question, but I think they would both agree with me, would be that some of the shows that we've got to play with just low-key influences have been such a fucking awesome, cool thing to do. Playing shows with Telekinetic Yeti and stuff like that. And Toke, we got to play with Toke.
That was
Toke
rad.
is huge, just dude. We love Toke. That fucking Orange EP, that's all they've done. They've not released an album or anything since then, surprisingly. But like we've all been fucking just spinning that EP for like years.
Yeah, because that was the Doom Days of Summer show. Again, Clark booked that in Lexington, and that was another set because that Toke was not on that, but Telekinetic Yeti was on it. Yeah. Electric Citizen was on it. Howling Giant was on it. Hyborian was on it. Hawkbill were on there. Swamp Hawk were on it.
We really love our contemporaries. I think like that's something that like should always be known. Like we really like respect the shit out of the people we played with. There's so many people making good rock and roll, good doom and shit. So
right.
I mean that's why you're here interviewing us. But there's tons of people still making ripping fucking albums.
Yep.
Awesome. So you've got a full length, you got some EPs, you got a new cover EP that came out, and you've already alluded to a new album.
Yep.
In the writing process. So what else is down the pipe for you guys?
Man, right now we're really pretty much wholly focused on the new album. I would say we need to write. Oh, this dog is just chewing her way. Listen that dog, chomp chomp. The dog is a good metaphor right now. We are that dog right now. The new album is the bone, the toy in his mouth. We're like, rah, 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 rah. Please give us this fucking good feeling. We really just want to finish up this album.
Don't fucking touch it.
What? Do you not want to touch?
Just continue with your metaphor.
Well, the metaphor is that the dog wants to chew on the bone, and we want to finish the album.
Yeah, we're gnawing at the bit.
We're chomping at the bit of finishing up this new album. We probably need to write one more song, give or take. We have the kind of pre-production rehearsal stuff prepped for almost all of the album. So I would say in the next 2 months or so, we'll be running through it in a rehearsal aspect and really prepping so that when we go into the studio, we're efficient and effective at tracking, which is what we did for the first album. We're still kind of mulling over and figuring out what we want to do as far as recording with it. If we want to go with the same kind of process we did with the first album, if we want to try something different. But that's all, TBD.
Right.
Outside of the new album, the only other thing I would say that's on our plate is really, and you guys can be like, shut the fuck up, you big ding dong. I would like to do another covers EP. We lightly agreed to doing something of a covers EP post album 2. And then other than that, once things are a little more coalesced in the public sphere and we can more safely gather, or we feel more comfortable gathering in a public sphere, getting back to playing shows. But again, that's all,
Right.
Yeah, see how things go.
That's what I would say, because COVID is a very unfortunate pandemic. However, we have written an entire new album during it. What sucks is we put out our first album in late January.
Yep.
Yeah, the last.
And then was not able to tour or support that album, which is the slightest, really.
Which, to be fair, was kind of our own. Yes,
making. We should have planned that better.
We didn't have a tour to support that album planned ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah, we're learning as we go.
We're a bunch of ding dongs. We're a bunch of dummies. We're just kind of we're having fun. We're doing the thing. So we will probably have a tour planned ahead of time before we release album 2.
And then it's going to be a headline tour, and you're going to do both in their entirety.
That's right.
We're going to play.
You're going to play the first, and then you're going to take a 15-minute intermission, and then you're going to come back and play the second.
That's right. I hope y'all were ready for some more, because we got it.
Frankly, I feel like after this pandemic is over, people would probably I feel like I would sit and watch even a shitty band play for an hour at Magbar if I could right now. I would do it.
Well, to be honest, we've probably all already done that in the past.
Yes.
But I would do it happily now.
Gladly.
I've been at some really shitty shows, and now all I can think is, man, I'd kill to go sit at Magbar for 2
just
hours.
For 2 or 3 hours to watch shitty bands.
Just the other day, they posted some things about possibly having shows again, about a local coalition of venues.
I would love nothing more than to be able to play Magbar again. Magbar has, and we'll really quick do that shout out. We'll slide them hypes in there. Magbar has been nothing but supportive of us since day one. We played it would have been our first show, but we played our second show ever at Magbar. way back in the day in 2015 with Mighty Auroch and Sea Witch.
Nice.
And they Magbar's always been kind to us, always been support.
That was the second show?
That was our second show. Our first show was at Modern Cult, right?
Yeah, our first show was at Modern Cult over there on the old location.
I thought that Sea Witch Mighty Auroch show was the first one.
Was it?
No, definitely not.
No?
Our first show was with a bunch of non-metal bands and like an acoustic solo.
Shit, hold on now. I think you might be right.
I'm almost positive that Magbar show was the first show that I've ever played.
You're right. It was because alright, so now I'm backing it up. Our first show was at Magbar. He is totally correct because our original first show was scheduled to be that Modern Cult show with Jimmy and the Two Tone Legbenders, as well as my buddy Nate Smith of Ars Enigma doing a solo set, acoustic. And so that was going to be the first show, but then we got asked to play the Sea Witch / Mighty Auroch show, and we hopped on that last minute. But again, all that is to say, Magbar has been nothing but supportive. If you are in the Louisville area, there is no reason not to go to Magbar, buy a beverage, tip your bartender heavily, purchase a piece of merchandise. They've got masks.
Heavy promoting.
Heavy.
Right
Look,
now.
I'm over here.
We just love the bars that we love, and we drink.
I'm standing the Magnolia bar. Look, we got the
Magbar
patch.
He's got a Magbar patch in the room right now.
I'm about to go buy
It's right next to the Stonecutters and Fuck You patch. Oh,
Look,
and a Magbar pin! A Magbar pin!
Patches. They got pins. They got merchandise. You can buy a beverage from
But no, what was this, like,
safely and responsibly.
Can I, as the professional in the room, circle back around to the question was, what was the plans?
Play Magbar again,
Yeah,
so that we can buy their merch.
Our only plans are to play Magbar as soon as possible.
Definitely.
And Highlands Tap Room as well.
And release a live album from Magbar.
That would be pretty fucking cool.
Man, a live from Magbar album wouldn't be a bad idea. It's not.
What's that like really famous Motorhead live album called?
Hammersmith?
Hammersmith.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like
live at the Odeon.
Maggersmith.
The Magnolia Dome.
The Magnolia Dome is the one.
Yeah.
Live at the Magnolia Dome. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge this week. I really appreciate every last one of you that listens. But before I go any further, I do want to tell you that we do have a Patreon page here. And there's 3 tiers. There's the Down and Dirty $1 tier. It's just $1. Hey, you're not going to miss $1. Nobody does. Then there's the $5 Showstoppers tier, which you get a patch, stickers, whatever we have that's in that price range. And then there's the $20 a month Master, where you can get a t-shirt, any size, any color of the Metal Forge logo. Fuck yeah, that's awesome stuff. Oh, and by the way, if you donate on there, guess what? You get the show 2 days in advance from everybody else. Thank you all so much. It's patreon.com/metalforgeradio. Check it out and donate today. I love you guys. Thank you. So we're all people, ultimately. We all have the same things that we like to get into and talk about and do. We all share typically the same stuff with everybody. Uh-huh. And I do like to ask general questions in interviews, more than just, it's like, what's about you as people versus the music and everything else. And these might be rooted musically, but I'm starting a new... Oh shit, there they go.
We had cards.
I do have cards, but now they're all over the floor.
That's fine. The dog will retrieve it. It's a retriever dog. No.
I'm going to pull these at random.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, what instrument do you want to learn?
Okay.
Keyboards.
I would love to play keyboard, yeah.
I would love,
piano.
Saxophone or some other kind of reed instrument.
Awesome.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good one.
Next one. This is fun.
Most overrated sports team, actor, or musician?
Overrated.
Most overrated.
Team, actor, or musician.
Pick one. Whatever you want. Either sports team, actor, musician. Most overrated.
All right. So here we go. I'm gonna get on a soapbox here for just a moment. All right. So when you say overrated, this is where it's difficult to answer. But I would answer Brock Lesnar. Why? All right. So Brock Lesnar is undoubtedly a genetic freak of a performer, of an athlete, of a specimen, of a human being.
Making sure.
However, Brock Lesnar is not a good in-ring worker. He is overrated from Vince McMahon's perspective. Vince books him to be this monster of a man. He always wins.
He must be saying this because I'm wearing a Triple H shirt.
Look, look, Brock Lesnar gets booked like even he's more protected than John Cena was at John Cena's height. And like we could maybe go into John Cena for a moment, but I think Brock Lesnar absolutely is overrated in the eyes of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I feel
I want to hit on this really fast because this is a topic of conversation that a couple of friends of mine go into about the Brock thing.
Yeah.
You ever play a wrestling game on PlayStation, on Xbox, and when you're a kid and you're playing it and you don't know how to do moves, and then the one friend learns how to do one move and keeps doing it over and over and over again. Yep. That's Brock Lesnar with a German suplex. Oh, it's like the one kid is constantly controlling him. Boom, boom,
so
boom.
To you two, could I say so she is my one friend group. My construction crew is the other friend group. They love UFC. Like I guess we're ignoring Brock Lesnar's UFC octagon.
Well,
career, right?
I could talk about that for a little bit too.
Had some.
Isn't he 5-3 or something?
He had some success.
Well, so the whole thing with Brock Lesnar's UFC career was his first outing. He got his shit wrecked.
Yeah, he's not a good mixed martial artist.
I'll say his UFC career is definitely better than CM Punk's. Fuck that guy.
God, or Batista.
It's probably better than Kimbo.
It's probably But I mean, Lesnar got wrecked on his first outing and then came back and fucking put a dude in his place in that second. It was a beatdown. It was pain. You're just like, he learned. And he put a dude in his place.
As much as I hate him, the dude did make progress.
He made significant progress, and he held that fucking belt. And like I would be remiss to acknowledge that Brock Lesnar not only has the look of a dude that should carry a belt. He also has the demeanor of a dude that should carry the belt.
30-second response is going to be great.
Mine's going to be about 5 seconds.
All right. Well, he deserves everything he has earned in his life. However, I think that Vince is holding on to Brock for far too long. I think that Vince overestimates the draw that Brock is, and that's my piece.
I get it.
Yeah. I think that Brock, despite his failures in I don't watch Ural wrestling. I don't know what you call that, wrestling with finger
wrestling.
Professional
wrestling. He's fun to watch in UFC. My answer will be. I think the most overrated band overall is Metallica, which is a super, generic answer.
What a generic answer.
But
next you're gonna say Saint Anger is a bad album. Oh boy.
So it was, but also one band I'll speak my piece real quick and I'll be done. Metallica, if you watch the trajectory of their career and where they started and where they ended from being super influential to being super out of touch, and then you look at another band who is the same age as them, a band that I love, Voivod, and how they are gray-haired 50-year-olds or whatever now, and they still make albums that I'm just whoa, this is different and weird and crazy, and they're still experimenting and having fun, and they're not millionaires, but they made good art, and Metallica just sold the fuck out a quarter of the way into their career. Fuck Metallica. What's Zach's answer?
Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
Fuck the Cowboys. 100% agree with that shit.
Yeah, that's right.
And the Patriots.
Damn.
I agree. Fuck the Patriots, but
and
if anybody's going to be America's team, it should be the Patriots.
Oh god,
because they're actually good. As much as I don't like them.
That's our answers.
Who's your favorite visual artist?
Fuck. I would say. Ryan Case, who did the album art for our first album.
Very talented.
Ryan is
super talented,
very nice guy, easy to work with. I can't sing Ryan's praises enough. If you're not already following him on the Instagrams, on the Facebooks, on social media, you should be following Ryan Case.
Why don't you shout out people the whole fucking podcast?
I'm not shouting. I'm just saying he's a great fucking artist. I also really like Yoko Molotov's really good. She did a sticker for us. Veronica Winters did a sticker for us. They've not done a sticker for us yet, but at some point they may. They did the emotes for my Twitch account, Fruit Melody, on Twitch. also does. They definitely lean into the chibi art style. They're really enjoyable.
What's your buddy's name that did our first T-shirt?
Oh,
Petrowski.
Fucking
Petrowski.
Yeah. Nathan Petrowski.
Petrowski.
I don't think he's got a. He's got an Instagram. I don't know what his like art handle is, if anything. But if you look up Nathan Petrowski, you're never going to be able to spell it. But Pietrowski, I think.
His drawings are really goofy. I like them a lot.
He's super good. And he's actually teaching at university right now.
Also, just to shout out somebody in the room, Tyler, very talented artist. As much as he
when I try,
doesn't
try very often.
give himself enough credit. He did our flyer for that first show, and it was fantastic.
He did do that flyer, didn't
he?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was really good.
I'm gonna have to look it up for sure.
I like Martin Donders. He's like Dutch or Finnish. It's Martin M with 2 A's, RTEN, like Donders, just exactly how I said it. He's done like some album artwork and like a bunch of flyers for like psychedelic fest and shit like that. I recommend looking him up. He's really cool. There's this old like Polish artist that did like really weird dark. I can't say his name. It starts with a Z. It's like Zbigniew like Pulse something. He was Polish. It was real dark. He lived through World War II. His shit's awesome.
Right on.
But, yeah.
Also, and she's probably gonna come in here and be like, "Shut the fuck up! I'll kill you with the you'll put a knife right in your skillet."
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you get the XOXO London Amore on the burlesque scene, she's pretty fucking. She got that good look. She's looking really fine. She's a. Mwah! You put that Italian spice and go yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I was going to come up after Tyler.
Yeah, XOXO London Amore. If you're looking to feel good.
All right.
Snail.
Shut up, Bob.
Snail mail or email?
Email.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Who wants to wait for
That's like almost my entire job is email. So.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I mean, if snail mail, obviously, if I'm like getting merch or something. But...
Right. Who would you want to see perform if time or money was no option?
Sabbath in their heyday.
Yeah. Or Zeppelin.
Sabbath, anything pre-Volume 4. Yeah.
Thin Lizzy.
Come on, really?
Yeah, all day.
Pre-Volume
4.
Like,
Volume 4 is garbage.
Oh, bullshit.
Throw it out.
I call bullshit. Volume 4 has my favorite song.
4, which is what?
It's
Under
terrible.
the Sun?
No, it's Snowblind.
Oh, you like Snowblind?
I like
Oh,
Snowblind.
good. There's one good
second,
song.
Under the Sun fucks.
Supernaut.
Supernaut's pretty good too.
Oh, good. 2 good songs on
He's
an
gonna
album.
argue with you.
Oh,
and I'm
boy.
gonna say one that I really like. Everybody's gonna say, "Oh, fuck
It's gonna
you!"
be Changes.
It is Changes.
Changes
All right.
sucks the balls.
Changes.
No, it doesn't.
Terrible song.
Changes is a fucking banger. I'll give you that.
What? Your opinions are all over the fucking place.
Okay,
Nah, dude.
so Changes with Sabbath or Changes with Kelly Osbourne?
Neither.
Fucking Sabbath. Sabbath is the right answer.
If I got to pick one.
Charles Bradley all day. You've heard that Charles Bradley cover, right?
I don't
Yes,
know that
I have.
It's real good.
Yeah,
It's
it's
awesome.
almost like the Van Morrison version of "Comfortably Numb." It's like
it's soulful.
it sounds like Tiny Tears. Is what it sounds like.
Man, I just can't. Man, Volume 4, like I
Tender
can't
Sticks.
get into it. I've tried it several times. Tyler really wanted to cover Under the Sun, and like I
Because every day comes and goes.
man, I just listened to it and I was like, this song is whack. Like it's bogus. Even Zach will back me up on this. Under the Sun is not a good song.
I don't like that song.
All right. Now, to be fair, Weed Eater covered it, and it was okay.
That's true.
But
They
was
fixed
it
it.
Weed Eater or was it Bongzilla? Fuck, it was one of those two. Either Weed Eater or Bongzilla covered Under the Sun, and like it's okay, but like all the problems with the song are still very much present, and like it just I can't get into it. Everything pre-Volume 4 Sabbath, I'm about. Although Mob Rules, whew, give me the Mob Rules all day.
But that's different, though.
Oh, it is. It's a different
Because
band.
that's to the point where, that's a different band.
It's a different band. I
Because
agree.
different drummer, different vocalist, so it's a
I'm-
different band. But that's to me, that's the start of power metal Sabbath.
Yeah.
Because you got to think with like the 80s especially when like Tony Martin came along. That's when like Seventh Star and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's total power metal Sabbath.
It's a different band. I agree.
And they wrote choruses at that point.
As far as Ozzy Sabbath is concerned, I stop at the beginning of Volume 4. I'll listen to everything up to that point, and then I just stop.
Which is interesting because a lot of metal people are into Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
Like, it's all right.
Jason's really into
Jace really likes that one. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. And like, don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoy tracks from those albums. Like, there's stuff on there that's good, but like, I can listen to self-titled, Master Reality, and Paranoid start to finish and enjoy every moment of it. Yeah. But once I hit Volume 4, there's tracks I'm just like, this is bad.
Yeah, I definitely would agree that the first three, like, it's funny that the question like beckons like these responses, and now this is just what we're talking about. But those like first three Black Sabbath albums are so seminal that you listen to them still in 2020, and you'll listen to them in 2080, and it will have not aged a bit because it sounds like so pure of what it created.
Right.
And all that it preceded. But like you listen to like anything after that, I think to me starting on Volume 4 and like the 4 weird albums after that, like Technical Ecstasy and all that shit. And like, it's just like, it succumbed to like being trendy or like trying to fit into the, like, they stopped trying to be Sabbath and trying to be like Sabbath in the 80s or whatever. And it's like, screw that shit. Like Sabbath when Sabbath was just being Sabbath.
Yep.
I dig.
All day.
But I'd watch any classic rock band.
Yeah.
Right on.
I don't even remember what the original...
Was Sabbath your answer on that as well? Or
I gotta be honest, at this point, I forgot what the question...
Yeah, I was gonna say...
who would you have liked to have seen, whether Time and Money was no object?
Yeah, Sabbath at their peak would be nice to see.
What about Thin Lizzy?
Ooh.
I would love to see that.
Well, okay, but see, that spawns a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thin Lizzy when Phil was a guitar player in the band, or when Phil was bass
vocals.
Yeah, because it's would you like to see him on Jailbreak, or would you like to see him on something like Fighting?
Bad Reputation.
Ooh, yeah.
That's the best album, and if anybody says otherwise, you're fucking dumb. That's the best album.
Actually, I'll revise. So I'll supplant I would also have loved to see Pink Floyd in there, in their Wall and Dark Side and Wish You Were Here in that run.
The 73 to 79 era.
Yeah, like anything in there that would have been.
I would also really love to see Neurosis, like in their early career.
Yep,
Neurosis would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, Floyd.
Sorry, we just took your answer.
Yeah, and Zach still hasn't answered.
We're a bunch of classic rock dum-dums.
Yeah, we are.
At the end of the day, and that's why that first covers EP is a bunch of like classic rock with soft.
But also stuff like Neurosis, like I think it's funny. Like we're like what are we gonna rip off today? Like Thin Lizzy, you're like, I fucking love Neurosis too.
Anyways, my answer would probably be besides Sabbath, Leonard Skinner.
Ooh.
Accident.
Yeah. Before, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely before the plane.
Yeah.
The plane. The plane. My God, the plane.
Plane's only cause.
Oh, and speaking of aerial crashes,
that would be a that would be a good album title. Aerial Crashers.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. I would have fucking killed to see him.
Yeah, dude.
Chili. Beans or no beans?
Beans.
Definitely beans.
Beans all day.
Yeah.
Give me them beans.
Definitely.
Don't get me wrong. I'll take it.
The more like serious question would be spaghetti or no spaghetti. I would answer all the spaghetti.
I'm just thinking.
I would answer none of it.
Wow! You absolute piece of shit, Mark.
I'm thinking about them beans. Look, I'm thinking about them beans.
He's always thinking about beans.
I'm thinking about them beans. Also, really quick, if we're talking about spaghetti or no spaghetti in your chili. All right, motherfuckers want to bring up Skyline Chili.
Oh my
let's be very fucking clear.
God.
Skyline Chili is not chili. It's Skyline. It's a meat sauce. It's its own thing. It's in its own stratus.
100%.
It's delicious. It's wonderful.
Bob has a lot of opinions.
They're
love mostly
Skyline.
stupid.
Also, and in defense of no beans means more meat.
Not always.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, because they could be ground really fine and it's just nothing.
That's fair.
All right.
Beans make you fart.
Who do you wish you never saw live?
Oh, boy.
Who ruined it for me live?
Who do I wish I'd never seen live?
Mastodon probably is my answer. I don't like not to be a dick, and they're doing something different. It was
Mastodon, Gojira.
Yeah, because
High on
Gojira
Fire.
went on before them, and I was like, oh my god. Now, High on Fire when there was a Cavill Attack.
Oh, yeah.
But Mastodon didn't play the songs off of the albums that I liked. This was
Whoa.
around
Damn.
the sun.
Well, heaven forbid.
I know. How dare them have a discography?
But I would agree with Zach. I like we could lump our answers into one because me and him both went to that same show. Like me and Zach would just like ride shows in Cleveland, Chicago, and like after COVID, like I want to do that again because those are good memories, man. But I do remember going up to see Mastodon and being like, wow, like this is what a band is like when they have like forsaken the sound that like shot them to like stardom, and like Mastodon just was like, we don't want to do that
we're not doing it
anymore.
anymore, and that's
I was just
totally
like,
fair.
what? Like like it's fair. Like you want to be like you're.
We want to make money and pay our bills and not make nerds happy.
Foreclose on your home, make good art.
Yeah, but I want to do some Crack the Sky shit.
So does that kick back to the Metallica thing though?
It probably does.
Yes, I 100% think it does. It's like Metallica just.
Well, I mean, because they didn't want to get a home foreclosed on, or so they.
I don't know because
they changed direction.
I wouldn't. Yeah. They changed direction, Mastodon, but I wouldn't say they sold out. They started doing some weird shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Mastodon went like.
I don't know.
Mastodon went as poppy as Mastodon could go while still being Mastodon.
I didn't find it poppy.
I would argue that like the last album or two is like even Once More Around the Sun. Like there's a song or two on it that I'm like, this sounds like Mastodon. Metallica, like to me, went full blown from like. I mean, you listen to Kill 'Em All, and Mastodon went from like being progenitors of thrash to like getting like
Metallica.
blown the. What did I say?
Mastodon.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Metallica on Kill 'Em All went from being like progenitors of thrash, blah blah blah, to just getting blown away by their contemporaries. Like, what the fuck was Metallica doing? There's nothing that you could tell me that Metallica was doing in '90 when Megadeth released Rest in Peace that it even came close to outpacing. Like their contemporaries just started like sweeping the floor with Metallica pretty early on, and have continued to do such, up until 2020, as we speak right now.
Right.
Fuck Metallica.
Jesus, Bob, do you have an answer?
I really don't. Ourselves. I wish I'd never watched any of our live videos. But I'm just going to sit there and go, look at that fuck up right there. I heard the thing that played wrong.
That's fair.
That'd be me.
Christ.
Ourselves. I would never have wanted to watch us.
Okay, so on the other side of that question, which is somebody you wish you never saw live because it ruins the mystique. So what is either the best or the worst concert you've ever attended?
Ooh.
Let Zach answer first because we always answer first.
Yeah.
The best. So, oh boy, I've painted myself into a corner here because
it's Mastodon.
It was that concert because Gojira fucking killed it. Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good.
They slayed
it was fucking incredible. Behind that, and I'm fucking. People are gonna say what a poser, but hey, metalhead's got opinions. Lamb of God show. I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago at
Headliners.
Expo 5. It was Expo 5. That was my first like fucking metal concert, probably. And boy, the energy was fucking crazy, and the crowd they were into it. It was great. I was happy to be there. I don't know that I would do it again. I'm past them musically, but God, my knees can't handle what those people in the crowd do.
I would say my answer would be tied between two. It would be Neurosis. I saw them. I was not even super. I listened to like the two biggest albums. Neurosis is like a huge influence of mine, and I had listened to just like walking around on U of L's campus when I was in college, just listening to like Through Silver and Blood and Times of Grace and shit like that. And like they didn't really I liked them a whole lot. And I was like, this is like really speaking to me. And I remember seeing them live and then playing they're a band that recognizes the impact of their whole discography, and they played stuff from so far back and just in that relatively small venue, Expo 5, the experience of seeing them live being more than just them performing the songs. It was they only tour a very little, very select shows. They'll do small tours in the summer. I know some of them are teachers and stuff, so that makes sense. And just it feeling very important that I got to see them and play the stuff, and they wanted you to feel like it was important that you got to see it. And that shit still sticks with me to this day. Like, the songs are so freaking good. The moods and shit, like, I will never, even with, like, the other projects and stuff, like, I work on and stuff, like, I want that feeling. That and the other band that would be tied with that would be seeing Enslaved in Chicago a few years ago, because Enslaved is, like, another one of my, like, biggest influences, and just seeing them and, like, them getting up there and, like, them being such huge influences to me musically, but them just getting up and be like, hey, we're so glad to be in America, like, let's get fucking drunk, and, like, just playing the songs that, like, are, like, so big to me, but, like, perfectly while they were shit-faced drunk, and I was just like, God damn, I love Enslaved. But anyways, Bob, you can answer.
You guys can call me out and say that I'm being a ding dong, but I would say seeing Blind Scryer's album release.
That was fucking rad.
That was fucking rad. Blind Scryer.
Just because you love the dude so much.
Blind Scryer at their album release, it was the combination of like that personal connection with them. The songs are banger after banger after banger, and that performance was also rad. And the sound of that night was particularly good, as well as Volcandra's album release. Again, because songs are banger after banger after banger. Looking at River's face while he's doing solos, he's just full of joy. He is so happy to be playing in those bands. God damn it. River is just a treat to watch anything he plays.
Really
but those two nights in particular, he was just...
Real quick, I got another one that I just remembered. That Abbott High on Fire show we went to.
Yeah,
it was fucking sick.
that was a fucking sick show.
It was Abbott High on Fire and
Skeleton Witch.
Skeleton Witch. Yes, that show was good.
I know somebody who went to that as well.
Yeah,
and has pictures with him without makeup
really?
On the street. Yeah,
fucking cool.
But you get like this much of his face, and he's like, "Check this out." He's like, he didn't realize that we knew who he was, and he was totally cool.
Sounds fucking great.
Yeah.
What do you invest too much time into?
Video games. Wrestling.
Laying in bed.
Sleep.
Going and looking.
Not the band. I sleep a whole bunch.
Looking for clearance Lego sets.
I just lay in bed waiting for time to pass. It's too much time.
What's your favorite animal?
A penguin.
Warthogs. I like pigs.
That's fair.
I feel soulfully connected with them.
Goddamn fucking alligators and shit, bro.
Right
They're
on.
like old as shit, but like just rocking. They got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
No toothbrush.
Medulla oblongata.
They got medulla oblongatas.
All right, I'm going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back. How to Vote is a tool created by Democracy Works. It breaks down the options your state offers for casting a ballot, empowering you to decide when and where to vote. Because voting isn't always about going to the polls on Election Day anymore. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are more available to voters these days and growing in popularity. Democracy works best when we all vote, but misinformation and confusion about election procedures have resulted in low voter turnout. How to Vote is a tool created by Democracy Works, and it takes the guesswork out of the voting process. Some of the things you can do with How to Vote is sign up for your election reminders, see what's on your ballot, get step-by-step assistance in requesting your mail-in ballot, check for voter registration status, find your polling site, and make sure you have the appropriate identification. Decide when and where you'll vote this year at howto.vote. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give to anybody?
Oh,
we got the entire
there we
show.
go.
Shout-outs
Let
to
me
all
get
of
my
them.
list out here.
God.
Just refer to everything else.
Yeah, listen to everything else. No, absolutely, without question, the boys in Blind Scryer have been probably some of our biggest cheerleaders since our first days. We were fortunate enough to get to play their album release show. They played our album. Did they play our? Yeah, they played our album release show. The fucking Blind Scryer boys, they just put out, or they just finished recording an EP, so they got stuff coming out. Swamp Hawk out of Lexington have been rad dudes to play with as well. They're, again, kind and well-adjusted, handsome young men. Our friends in Volcandra, our friends in Prayer Line, our friends in Stagecoach Inferno.
Except Hunter.
Hunter's a big ding-dong. I can't tell what you're saying.
Everybody agrees with that. Hunter fucking sucks. The balls! In the best way possible.
Oh, the Princesses of Louisville.
Hey, they're doing some good shit.
They are doing the Princesses of Louisville. If you have kids and your kids like Disney princesses and they're like, I want to have Moana come be at my birthday party.
You can't have marijuana at your birthday
Not
party.
marijuana, Moana. She makes way. So she, the princesses of Louisville, reggae. Yeah.
Jared Wright also.
Jared fucking Wright.
God damn.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah.
Fucking
really good
books,
guy,
like really
good
nice to our band, but also has continued on like the fight with like the Black Lives Matter shit, which matters to us a whole lot. Like we don't give a shit if it doesn't matter to you. Fuck you, don't listen to our band. He's continued to be awesome with that shit. So yeah, fuck yeah, Jared Wright.
I think that's it.
I think it's it. There's. I'm sure there are
we're
bands.
leaving off some.
We're leaving off all kinds of. Anybody. The shout out is to anybody that has listened to our band and been like, hell yeah, that's the shit.
Okay, so we got the shout outs. How do people get a hold of you guys? How do they go buy music, buy merch? How do they do that?
You can find us on the social medias at SHI Louisville. That's SHI Louisville. And so that would be, if you go to shilouisville.bandcamp.com, you can find the music. That's where you can buy the album. You can get any of our older releases at a name your price rate. The album digitally is $5.
Okay, what about Facebook?
On Facebook, it's facebook.com/SHI Louisville. Okay. And on the Instagram, it's at SHI Louisville. We have a consistent naming convention across all three.
True.
Although I will say, if you're looking for us on Spotify, it's probably easiest just to search for Green Death, and then you'll find the song or the album or whatever. Because if you just look for SHI, you're going to get Shine Down.
Yes, you will get any band with the letters SHI anywhere in the name before our name comes up.
It's true. And so basically we just need you guys to get them plays up so that when people search for SHI space, then you will find our band name. But until then, if you search for Green Death on Spotify, you'll find it.
As far as merch goes, send us a message. We will do what we can. We don't currently
We're very bad about it.
We don't have an online store set up for it right now.
Yeah. Right on. But you do have stuff available.
We do have stuff available.
Absolutely.
And as the current climate and as COVID gets addressed and ideally as a vaccine gets developed and released and widely available for folks in the coming months or whatever, as we play shows, we always have merch at our shows. So definitely follow us on any of those socials to keep tabs on where and when we will be in existence.
Awesome. Sounds good. And the typical last question of the show has been, how would you like to die?
Are you serious? Is that a serious question? Like in the
yes.
podcast? Because like our whole band is based on wanting to die. I don't.
So
right here, right now.
So because of that, I think I'm going to change it up and ask one from the cards.
Okay. Go, Lord.
I can tell you what the
chocolate or vanilla.
I'll really quick say I would like to have vanilla, but then the plans post mortem are, and this is official. I've told my wife this is my final wishes. I want to be yeeted off of the 2nd Street Bridge into the Ohio River. That's my fucking dead body, rigor mortis, yeet into the Ohio.
That is fucking great, because Rygar said something similar about being trebucheted.
Yeah, man,
into the ocean or something.
Like over a lake and just
look, man, like fucking funerals are expensive and like all that shit costs about like just fucking throw me in the Ohio. Some catfish are gonna get to feast real fucking good. Maybe I'll freak some fucker out that's out there like fishing and like, oh my god, I found a dead body. But again, all this is after I've had some vanilla ice cream, because vanilla would be my answer to your
chocolate would be my answer. What about you, Zach?
I like them both equally.
Thank you.
I'm down.
A good swirl.
A swirl. Give me that.
You're down with the swirl.
Amen, brother.
Would it be like the like at the Chinese buffet where you did the soft serve swirl? You go,
yes, exactly like that. 100% that.
And it goes
then with sprinkles.
Yeah, all day. I feel you. I'm there with you,
dudes. Thank you all so much, Bob, Tyler, Zach. You guys are fucking awesome. I've had an awesome time.
I'm glad to hear it.
The dogs.
Got to play with some pups.
I got to play with the dogs. They were awesome. Got to hear a little bit of music when I came in. But we're going to play some tracks on the way out. So, anything you all want to play in particular off the album?
All right. What do you guys want to play?
On the way out.
Wait, would you go?
Passive Suicidal Ideation.
Damn, you would pick that one.
He always picks that one.
He always picks that one.
My
Let's
favorite
do
song
it.
off the first one.
Do it. Go for it. PSI, Passive Suicidal Ideation. It's track
Bap-ba-doo,
something.
bap-ba-doo, bap-ba-doo,
3.
bap.
Yeah, pick that one. That's our out song.
And here it is.
Musicians, rejoice. Confused with all the modern and technical pedalboard selections? Look no further. Kentucky Hop Brown Pedalboards offer their homemade wooden and custom pedalboards for guitarists and bassists alike. Established in 2013, KYHBPB has helped support not only the local Louisville scene, but a large array of big and small players from across the entire country. More info can be found at KentuckyPedalboards.com.
Are you registered to vote? Headcount is a nonpartisan organization that works with the music and entertainment industry to get our fans to vote. That also allows you to update or check your voter registration status. Go to headcount.org where you'll find all the information you need to be ready for Election Day. At Headcount, you also can check your registration status. Millions of people purge their voter rolls every year. Everyone should check their status every year. The deadline to register to vote in some states is as early as October the 4th, so you want to check it before then. You can also request an absentee ballot, get early info on voting, and find your polling location, or see what's on your ballot. Register to vote today at headcount.org.
What in